they break in and like all hell starts to break loose. Somebody gets shot. I can't remember. Demita like hangs a random cop in the rafters in the back of the opera. It's like that guy wasn't even involved in the. Hello and welcome back to the 211th episode. Good, Bad, or Bad, the show where we watch terrible movies, tell you should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Chiligo, joined once again, and as always, by the other host, Mr. Kyle.
With his fantastic hair.
Kyle, welcome back. I don't know when this is coming out or when I've been sick. So hopefully this is coming out somewhat close to on time, but it's probably not really. We'll see. But we're gonna try to catch back up.
Real life hit us, and then we're trying to play catch up.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
I'm dying. Help me.
So, anyways, welcome back to the show. It's the same show. Kyle, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about Steven Seagal. He's back.
Steven Seagal is back.
This is what happens when we're desperate for like always a good bad film time. Is we just go to a Steven Seagal film because they're always
pretty much
ridiculously wild.
A safe bet that it's going to be a good bad movie. And I would say this one, well, we'll get there. We won't spoil it. I don't know. Maybe. Kyle, the film we're talking about today is Submerged.
Steven Seagal, Submerged.
What if Under Siege was on a submarine? But also, that's not really the movie.
Yeah, and also we're on a sub for like 5 fucking minutes.
For like 5 minutes. I think the idea was like, let's just do Under Siege on a submarine. And then they wrote a whole other like 2 movies.
I mean, thank God Under Siege is not on a sub. Otherwise, that would have been a confusing film.
Yeah. Wait, why?
What the first? Isn't Under Siege on a sub?
No, it's on a battleship.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
It's on a battleship.
Oh. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Keep the faith, Stranix.
I'm like 99% sure.
We'll cut all that out.
No, we don't cut you out. Well, you can do whatever you want. You're editing it, so you can cut you out being wrong.
I have done nothing wrong ever in my life.
All right, we're back, and Kyle was definitely correct about the plot of Under Siege. Anyways, today we're talking about Submerged, 2005 film. Directed by Anthony Hickox, who, I looked this up, he's born into a film family. His mom was Ann Coates, who's like a legendary editor. She edited Lawrence of Arabia, among other things. But like, and his dad was like a director.
Fantastic film that never won an Oscar or something like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never actually seen Lawrence. No, I have seen Lawrence of Arabia. It's just been a long time. But yeah, his family. So he's born into a film family. I don't know if he inherited the gene, man.
No, this film is a mess.
The opening, and it starts right away because the opening of this film is chaotic nonsense. We get like it's like some woman talking about being able to control people with verbal commands.
Yeah.
I speak, you listen.
And then this like chaotic music video.
Yeah,
like,
we start getting the editing from freaking Out for a Kill.
Yeah, wait, what's Out for a Kill?
It's the Steven Seagal film where he's that crazy.
Yeah,
that where it's like cut, flash.
I was thinking it looked like a music video for The Prodigy or something. Like it looks like a music video for like a techno band from like the late 90s or early 2000s.
I think Steven Seagal was like, I want this guy to edit all my films. I don't know why he sounds like the Don. But.
Yeah, well, he kind of does, honestly, sometimes.
You forget how to salute? Well, that's kind of frowned on where I come from down in the stock age, you know.
And with the explicit goal of giving everybody a seizure who watches the movie, because it is just chaotic nonsense.
Yeah, there's your warning now.
It's so frenetic. Oh, my God. But it's just this opening is also like, it will be the plot eventually we will get to. But it's like, at the beginning, you're like, what is he? It's just like random shots of like sciencey stuff and then like this red sky and like a woman on a cliff and you're like, what the fuck is
it's madness.
It's madness. But then we jump in and we open on a dam and there's this guy arriving at a dam and this is the villain. We don't see him yet.
He's got like just everything that could be possible for a villain. He's got the white suit.
Yes, he's like the Jurassic Park.
Yeah, he is. He's the doctor from Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
he's got a crazy cane that's got like a weird symbolism thing to it even.
But he arrives on this secret base that's in a dam, and there's a drone flying over that gets shot down by a jet fighter, and I'm not sure what that has to do with anything. I'm not sure what the drone was doing. I guess spying on them.
Yeah, the drone was, I think, was U.S. surveillance.
Okay. And then, so I guess their people shot it down or whatever. I don't know. But then meanwhile, at the same time, we're cutting to an embassy in Uruguay.
Yeah.
Where this woman, who is the ambassador for the
U.S. ambassador
to Uruguay, is walking through what appears to be the hottest embassy that's ever existed, because every actor in this scene
is sweating bullets,
pouring sweat. They must have actually filmed it in Uruguay with no air conditioning or something. Like, they are all just drenched in sweat.
Somebody had a stroke, clearly.
Oh, 100%. But what does actually happen is they get their brain chips activated, or brains,
whatever
washing activated
bullshit is happening. All the security guards,
they get brain hacked.
They just start blowing people away.
They start shooting everybody in the embassy, and they're just like murdering all the other security guards, and they kill her. They shoot her in the head, and so the ambassador's dead. And then the final moment,
and then they do like a Good, Bad, the Ugly standoff, and just shoot each other.
They all point their guns at each other, 3 of them in like a circle, and then they all just shoot each other and die. It's pretty great. It's a great opening. So that's kind of like our what's going on here cold open. We got this mysterious guy arriving at this base, and then the mind control people doing some stuff. Then we're introduced to Gary Daniels, who's in this movie.
What is he doing in this movie?
Yeah, it's a small role for him.
It is.
It's
not a very small role.
Yeah, I guess it's early enough that he wasn't. He hadn't started headlining these kind of bad movies.
Maybe not to this extent, because like
it's like 2002 or 5 or something.
It's 2005 because like. Was it Recoil?
Some of the movies we've done with him were before this.
This might have been a situation.
It's just Seagal's a bigger name, obviously.
Maybe he owed somebody a favor,
or just like the opportunity to be in a Seagal film at the time. He's like, that's it's a good paycheck potentially.
Got a shitty feeling about this one, man.
Well, that puts me at ease, John. Jesus.
Because we're still at the period where Seagal is like not completely lost his luster. Like, he's definitely on the way out.
Oh yeah,
but he still has at least enough. Like, he's not a complete joke to everybody yet. We're like,
we're pre. What was the Memphis one? Kill Switch.
It almost seems like he manipulates the time of death, like he's watching the clock or something.
Oh yeah, I can't.
Where he's like clearly just like pure cocaine, like constipation face the whole time.
Yeah. We're not quite there yet, but he's basically there, and I have some notes about that later. But we are smack dab, which we haven't seen him yet, but we are smack dab still in the Cajun accent era.
Yes.
Where he's doing his fake Seagal Cajun accent.
I don't want y'all to make any assumption on what I might have done to get out of the handcuffs.
At least I'm fairly certain that's fake. But anyways, Gary Daniels is flying in a helicopter with the rest of his Delta squad or whatever, a green screened helicopter, because you can see out the window it's very clearly not a real helicopter flying. And then Gary Daniels has a picture of like his family.
His family, yeah.
And he has like a nightmare where he we have this flash of his son.
Brainwashing or something?
I don't know, but he hasn't been brainwashed yet, has he?
I thought the doctor chick was also a brainwasher, because wasn't she like
Christine or whatever?
Christine, I think it is. But
yeah,
wasn't she like one of Leighton's like?
You understood more of this plot than I did.
I thought she knew like all the brainwashing.
She knew about the brainwashing stuff, but I don't think Gary Daniels would have been brainwashed yet. He hasn't been captured in brain. Like, what?
Well, how do you know the U.S. government didn't? Oh, conspiracy.
Maybe is the idea. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But I love that the shot of him is it's his son like T-posing in front of a windmill, like in a giant red devilscape, a hellscape. I don't know what.
Asserting his dominance.
I was like, what the fuck is? Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? It's so weird. And then
he's supposed to be like the leader of this of
this force that's going in there, and they're going to near the dam. I don't know where they're going.
I'm assuming he'd be like lieutenant, so like his sergeant. Second command was like, hey, no personal effects to the guy who's
running the mission, seemingly.
Come on, we're going in clean. You know this. No personals.
why would he not know this?
Yeah, and he's allowed whatever, and it's just a picture. It doesn't matter. But so they're getting ready. They land, and as they're landing, we see this one guy who's like a scout, like lookout, who has binoculars, who gets like taken out. That's the director of the film.
Oh, that's his,
that's
nice.
his cameo. Yeah,
Nice.
he gets stabbed in the chest. I'm like, that's the director. So they land and they get dropped off on this beach. It's not really a beach, but on this like hill by the water, and they're like making their way inland. And they stop for a second, and as they stop, this woman approaches with a herd of goats.
Yes.
And Gary Daniels
loses his shit.
Has the longest mental breakdown I've ever. It goes on forever. He sees her, and we keep getting these like snap zoom cuts, and like, what's he gonna do? And then his guys are like, sir, what do we do?
He sees her, and then we seizure.
Yeah.
Get it? Get it?
Well done. But yeah, and then the camera's like, and then like, but it goes on for like 30 straight seconds.
Eventually, we see that she's wearing a suicide vest.
Yes, but he also keeps seeing his girlfriend like in her face, which is what's giving him the like panic attack or whatever. But yes, she gets close enough, and she has a bomb vest on, and then they're like, oh shit, and they go to shoot her. And she blows it up and doesn't do anything. It just blows her up. They gave her a very bad bomb vest, I guess. But then a whole bunch of guys just come storming down the hill at them. This is the set, like numerous times in this movie. Sorry. Numerous times in this movie, the villains just like storm at the enemies out in the open to just be mowed down.
In the middle of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, what is going on? So they're just like shooting people. It's so stupid. It's the worst firefight. Like, it's so many of the shootouts in this movie. It feels like they're like, well, we don't have time to figure out and like choreograph an actual shootout. So you all just stand over there and we'll stand over here and we'll just shoot at each other.
Yeah,
and then
occasionally we'll like yank somebody back.
Yeah, somebody will fall over and they'll be dead or whatever. But so they end up getting captured. Gary Daniels is like, surrender and drop your guns or whatever. So they all drop their guns. And then they get taken to the lab in the dam.
Yes.
Inside the dam. And they start getting Clockwork Orange.
Not only do they start getting Clockwork Orange, they get Clockwork Orange with like Gap fashion from like the late 90s. Why are your prisoners look like they fell out of a fucking JCPenney's catalog?
They gotta look stylish while they're getting their brainwashed, man. Yeah, and they strap their eyes open and put a VR headset on them and brainwash them. And this is where we first, maybe the first time, but we see the guy, like villain, later or whatever.
The thing is, later,
whatever it is. But he's like, I'm the villain.
Yeah, he was developing the first Oculus.
Basically, yeah, I think that's what this is. This is the early human trials of the Oculus headset.
Or somebody picked up a Virtual Boy and they were like, I like this. Let's use this in film.
Which would actually be an effective torture device if you've ever used a Virtual Boy for more than about 5 minutes.
Attached to your head is a Virtual Boy. If you try to remove it, you will die.
So we set that up. Then we cut to maybe my favorite Steven Seagal character intro we've had in any one of his movies. We cut to this big long hallway, and he comes around the corner in slow-mo, and he's being like escorted down the hallway. Yeah, he's getting perp walked down the hallway. But they added these big like echoey sound effects for each footstep, which is like the sound effects you'd put in if you were introducing like a giant to your movie. It's like
here's Bane.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just a very chubby Steven Seagal shuffling down the hallway. It's so funny. And then, yeah, so he meets with this like general guy who's like, all right, you're out of the brig or whatever. And we'll find out later what he was in prison for or why he was locked up. But they have a mission for him, and he's the only guy that can do it. And so they bring him in.
90% of all Steven Seagal films.
Yeah. So he decides he has to assemble his team. And we get like a Suicide Squad intro.
Yes.
For each of them, it's like a character screen.
Even characters who are like on screen for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, just like Suicide Squad. Yeah. And we're introduced to all of his whole crew of characters, which includes Vinnie Jones.
Vinnie Jones is in this film too.
He's in this film and he is on the squad. And so they explain that they got to go rescue these guys or something. It's because they're gonna go rescue the Delta Squad guys or something. I think
they have like, I think they said they have like vital info or something like that.
Along with 5 prisoners. We need them brought back for debriefing.
So they got to go get them. So he gets his squad together and he's like giving them a briefing. And I love that during the briefing, one of the guys, it might be Vinnie Jones, is like,
And what if we just take off?
Yeah. What about that?
What? And you gonna miss the party?
So what if we just like leave?
Oh yeah. Like, okay, so keep in mind, all these people are like
they're all like criminals.
They're all like in life in prison and stuff like this. And this is their chance to get like some sort of a clean slate.
It is the Suicide Squad. Like that is what we're doing. Yeah.
And Vinnie Jones is like, what if we just leave? And Steven Seagal's way to like fish him back was, oh, and you're gonna miss the party.
And you're gonna miss the party. And I'm like,
and that's enough for it to be like, oh, yeah,
okay, I guess, yeah.
What? And you gonna miss the party? Come on.
It's like, well, no, that's not a reason not to. Yeah, man, I'll fuck that party. You mean the party where we could get murdered by people? Yes. I'm gonna fucking leave and go do whatever I want. What are you talking about? Oh. Yeah, it's so stupid. But they just like gloss over, because that's why in Suicide Squad they put like bombs in their neck or whatever.
Like you go away, your head go boom.
Yeah, you would think they would do something like that, but no. He's like, their answer for like, why don't we just fuck off and not do this mission when they let us go is because that wouldn't be fun. Okay, all right, sure. But then we're introduced to Dr. Christine Chappell, I believe is her name, who's the other like lead kind of.
Yeah, and this was the one that I thought she like was versed in the.
She knows, because she knows Fletcher. Like so Fletcher is the U.S. guy who like he's like with intelligence or something.
Yeah, he's connected to everybody down there.
Yeah, and ultimately we'll find out he's like a double. Yeah, the traitor. But I don't. That plot made no sense to me. I have notes throughout where I'm like, I don't understand how these characters like what their relationship is or why it made no sense to me. But the actress who plays Christine Chappell, I recognized her. She's in one episode of Doctor Who from the very first reboot season, the episode that has Simon Pegg in it. She's in that episode. I was like, I remember her. But so she is British, and you can hear her accent every now and then slip through. Like she's trying to do an American accent, but every now and then a moment where like, that's not quite.
Just keep the data disk safe. I wouldn't count on that pardon if you lose it.
A lot of Brits in this film. Gary Daniels, Vinnie Jones.
Yeah, they maybe filmed it. I don't know where they filmed it, but yeah.
Oh, Bulgaria. I'm not sure if you saw the end credits.
No, I didn't.
A lot of skis and a lot of last names that end in OV.
Fair enough. So they go off on their mission, and the first thing they do is they drop off Fletcher, because Fletcher has to come.
Yes.
For some reason.
Yeah.
And the first thing Seagal does is like, oh yeah, let's land here, and then they just kick Fletcher out.
Kick him out and like, all right, take off. Bye.
And just leave him there because he assumes he was a traitor or something.
Unsurprisingly, it was an ambush because Steven Seagal knows everything.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I bet it was an ambush. And then like seconds later, all the guys come out of the woods and he's like, well, all right. But what's the point of the ambush? I don't understand. Fletcher was part of the crew that hired Seagal. Why would you immediately ambush him? Like, just kill him, leave him in prison if you don't. I don't understand. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I guess the idea is that Fletcher had to pretend to go along with the plan and then had his guys there to immediately kill Seagal so that they couldn't do anything, I guess is what's going on there. It just felt very strange to me.
This one's weird.
No, we had to kill her because she didn't understand how we do business down here.
Anyway, so they leave him on the ground and fly away. Then we got to introduce the other hot babe operator in the movie who gets her Marion from Raiders introduction where she's just arm wrestling dudes in a bar.
That's ridiculous.
It's just like taking shots and arm wrestling dudes.
And
it's
I
great.
guess she's just in Uruguay, just at a. Is she like run this bar or is she just I don't know. But she's like just a mercenary for hire.
Yeah. But so they got to go pick her up. But yeah, she's like arm wrestling dudes. And then this is where we find out roughly along this time that Cody, which is I think Seagal's character in the movie, him and his men got thrown in. The reason they were in prison is because they blew up a tanker full of weapons or like that had like a nuke on it or something.
Near Hawaii, was it?
The Damascus was so loaded with explosives, it's enough to take out all of Oahu. Another 9/11.
But it was all like off the record, and so they basically they took the fall for like blowing up this tanker because the U.S. government never admitted that there were like weapons on it or that it was a threat.
So it just seemed like they
just blew up this tanker.
Yeah,
exactly. But actually, they were saving everybody, of course.
Called it a travesty. Cody and his team were put away. All political bullshit.
It's like we're gonna replace our potential 9/11 with a Bikini Island explosion, right? And wasn't that where they blew up the
somewhere?
nukes?
Yeah, it was just in the ocean, I think,
or the Marshall Islands or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
something like that. Yeah. So then the guy that Fletcher, the guy that Seagal drops off, gets to the dam, where the secret experimental base is, and just murders everybody. Him and his guys just murder everybody in the base, and then they take the evil scientist later, or whatever his name is. And then this was so confusing me. I guess they set this up before, but immediately Seagal's men just start commandeering a sub that I didn't even know existed.
Yes. What
did we?
This was wild.
Where did this come from? They're just like, we'll get this.
Well, this is, I think you were talking about a second film.
Yes, this to me feels like a whole different movie because they start commandeering the sub that we didn't even know existed and was there, and they just start taking it.
They just have a couple of people who know how to work the engines, the pump system,
drive the sub, everything.
Everything.
And with like 4 guys that can drive this. I was like, I don't know. Sure, if you say so. Yeah.
3 men running a submarine? You said you could run this on your own.
There's some passing line about how they can do it with like a few men, but like whatever. But yeah, I was like, then we never set up there being a sub there. It's so strange. But so then meanwhile, but while they're doing this, there's actually one moment in this whole movie that I thought was kind of interesting, and it's when I think it's Vinnie Jones snipes that guy, blows up the gas can.
Oh, right.
Because he shoots the gas can.
He shoots him. So the explosion happens with the gas can.
Yeah.
But all these guys are breathing.
Because they got to be quiet. That's the whole setup. They got to be. It's a stealth mission at this point.
They're breathing in these flames, and it's like searing their lungs.
He's like,
they can't scream.
The heat from the flames sears their throats closed. They can't even scream.
Yeah, and on top of that, but they do it in the sound mix. Like, they keep it relatively quiet, and it's funny because it actually makes sense when you think about it. Like, he shoots the can, and there is an explosion sound briefly when the can goes up. But then after the can immediately explodes and all the guys are on fire, in a normal movie you'd hear like all these loud explosion-y, fiery noises and stuff. But in reality it wouldn't be that loud. It's just something burning from
you can hear maybe a few footsteps.
Yeah. And that's what you hear. Yeah.
And then they fall into
the water. Yeah.
Sorry about the splashes.
And they're like, oh, it actually, and because Seagal's like, what are you doing? Oh, it was actually pretty quiet. I'm like, I guess it would be relatively quiet. It's kind of an interesting idea. But so they kill that guy, and they now are able to commandeer the sub. Then they get into the dam. They get into the base. And they're looking around. Everybody's dead already, basically.
Yeah, they're in some generic tunnel, basically.
Yeah, basically generic tunnels. Christine finds a CD on somebody that has the mini disc.
She finds a GameCube game disc.
Yeah, inside of a CD case.
The mini disc.
And this somehow confirms to her that Fletcher was I feel like I was missing so many details.
That he was the rat or something, but she knows that this has all the info on it.
Yeah, so she must have known, I guess, that he was there.
Yeah.
So that he's a traitor. I had felt like I had to put so many pieces together in a movie that I shouldn't have to do that. I was like, what is going on?
Double-crossing son of a bitch.
So they now know that he's a double-crossing son of a bitch. And then a bunch of guys show up, and this is another one of those scenes. Our entire good guys line up in this tunnel with their guns out.
Yeah.
And the enemy just run at them. With guns.
Yes.
But don't shoot their guns.
But yeah, they have 007 GoldenEye N64 logic.
Yes.
Where they just run after you wherever they
I think it's supposed to be this
or anything.
No, I think it's supposed to be like the scene from Predator where they're mowing the forest down, except they're doing it to a wall of humans that are just
time to bleed.
Yeah, that are just running at them. It's so goofy looking.
They bring a tank.
Yes, the enemies have a tank. They drive a tank in, and I love Seagal like wheezing his way up to this. He's like, "Let me go get him," and then he gets a
grenade, just chucks it into the driver's seat, which is just open.
Yeah, he's got a great which I think is true. I think they open the hatch to drive or whatever.
I guess you could, but normally they just have the slot right in front.
I don't know. He has a great one line. I can't remember what he says, but he says something when he throws that grenade in there.
Here, catch.
He's like, I think he might say like,
"Here, catch," or whatever.
No, I thought it was something about eating. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's funny.
Eat this.
Something like that.
Hot potato.
Maybe it is hot potato. I can't recall. But so he blows up the tank, and then they're able to. They get Gary Daniels out of there, and like I think he's the only survivor. Maybe or there's a couple. There's like 4 or 5 other guys. Yeah. And they get them out of there. I need you to edit this cough sound. And they get him out of there, and they get him onto the sub, and then they start escaping with everybody, and they blow the dam up. And I was so hoping we were going to get a miniature explosion.
Kind of, in a way.
Really?
In a way. We got it. Clearly, there were some miniatures, but it was just horribly mixed with bad special effects.
Okay, all I saw was the bad special
effects. The flames, and I think there might have been a little bit of miniatures with where the water's flowing down, but the water, they didn't put in that special like little thing that makes the water tension super light, so all the water is coming down, and you can clearly see how small the water is.
Yeah,
it's really funny. If you want to like a movie that did it right, and this is always my favorite example, is Temple of Doom, where they're in the minecart and the minecart's flooding on the way in. Or on their way out, and you can see like they add, because that's all miniature obviously, but they added that little ingredient to lower the water tension, so the water just spreads out really
interesting
fast. Yeah,
I imagine that's what they did, because the one, my favorite miniature water like bursting scene is from Two Towers, when they rip the Ents rip the dam down. I think it's Two Towers. It might be Return. I think it's Two Towers. And the Ents rip the dam down, and the dam, all the water. It's clearly a miniature, but it looks great.
It floods the what are the
Isengard
pits.
Yeah. So now they're on the sub. This is like the second movie. So the first movie was like rescuing these guys. This is Act 2, which is an entirely different movie. And really, what it seems like the movie wants to be about is like this, like actiony, like Die Hard on a sub kind of thing, but it's only like 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it's real short.
So they get on the sub. Christine and the whatever the other girl's name is, Demita or something like that. They have to fight each other to assert hot girl dominance. Because there's 2 hot girls on the sub, Kyle, and they can't both be on the sub. One of them has to be the alpha hot girl on the sub. So they have to fight each other briefly.
A little bit of a knife fight real quick.
Yeah, just brief. They get over it pretty quickly, though.
Lesson 3. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Meanwhile, all of the guys that they rescued are in the med bay with the doctor. And the doctor's like working on them, because one of the guys like super injured.
It's like chest wounds.
Yeah, he got shot or something. I don't know. Yeah. And so they're working on him. But then Christine, after she gets over her fight with the other girl, is talking to Seagal. And Seagal's like, so what's going on in there? What all happened with these guys? And she explains.
Leaders brainwashed them. Come on. They're the enemy now.
They're all brainwashed. And then like, why are you telling them that now? You just left all 5 of them. She's like, they're super dangerous, brainwashed killing machines. I just left all of them unguarded with one guy. One guy in the med bay. What is going on here?
Need to know basis.
You know the sick part about that is, I need to know.
And then immediately, as he goes to like check on it, they all start fighting everybody.
Yeah, they kill the med.
They kill the med and they escape. And then he has to fight Gary Daniels in the kitchen, in the galley.
Oh, this is such a disappointing fight for Gary Daniels.
It really is. It's just a disappointing fight, period, because they start. I love that, like when the fight starts, he like drop kicks Gary Daniels and calls him a cocksucker motherfucker in his Steven Seagal way, which is great. Cocksucker motherfucker.
Cocksucker motherfucker.
And then they start fighting, and they do. And as soon as I was like, don't do the knife fight. And of course, they pick up knives, because that's the whole thing everybody remembers from Under Siege is the knife fight. And so they pick up knives, and they got to do their knife fight for like 30 seconds.
Steven Seagal's not a chef this time.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't even make sense. But they got to do it because it's Steven Seagal on a boat. So we got to have him knife fight somebody.
What a shame.
But it's not that hard. He pretty much just immediately kills Gary Daniels.
Immediately. Gary Daniels unceremoniously just killed off.
Yeah, and I guess that's what happens when you're in a movie with Seagal. It's like it's in his contract. He kicks your ass very quickly and easily, even if you're Gary Daniels. But he just murders him.
We can't leave this out. Look. Gary, I can't exactly move that much, all right?
I'm going to need you to do most of the work here.
I don't need people to think that I'm out of shape.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold the knife, and then you're going to move around a lot, and then at the end, you're just going to, like, fall on my knife, okay?
Oh, okay. Are we sure that's how it should go?
Yeah.
Gary, look at the check again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah. At some point, they'll get a close-up of me doing this, and they'll just cut that in, and it'll look great.
Oh, God.
But meanwhile, Christine is able to kill another guy in the engine room. Like, she's fighting one of the other guys. She kills that guy in the engine room. And then
we go up.
They explain that they can't surface.
Yeah.
Because somebody called later.
Yeah. So they basically, this was an issue, I think, to command or something like that.
Yeah.
To where they're like, oh, cool. Now they have a
nuclear
armed
sub
or something like that. We got no clue what they're going to do. We don't know who's in control of the sub. And so
if it surfaces, shoot it.
Yeah, they're going to blow it up.
Yeah, the U.S. or Navy is or whatever.
If it surfaces, launch.
And so Later's men are the mind washed guys. Yeah. They're trying to like take it to the surface. They take over the ship. Yeah.
Do you still have a bridge on a sub?
I don't know what it's called. Yeah, probably a bridge. Probably.
Well, anyways, so they get told to bring it up. Now we're in this huge standoff in the bridge.
Yeah. And they're all standing there and they like have their guns on the guy who's driving the ship and they like have everybody captured. But Seagal obviously is not part of this. And I love he sneaks in. And the way he starts this all off, he just grabs the guy's ankle and yanks it, and the guy just like face plants. I'm like, you have the worst balance ever. Like, or Seagal, I guess, is just the strongest person in the world.
Dude, he has like a -4 to his stealth check. It's just not possible.
It's not scientifically possible.
It's not possible that he snuck up on them, but also just yanks his ankle, and it completely like it just collapses his whole body. It's like, what are you okay? Because like in reality, what would happen is Seagal would yank his ankle, and the guy would look down like, "What are you doing? What are you
this
doing?"
Is where we get the shooting begins, stuff like that.
Yeah,
we lose the driver of the vessel.
Yes,
we lose the engineer who kept it running.
Yeah.
Okay. This is now we're just losing team members now.
Yeah. But so they get to the top and they surface, and then we get some sweet archival footage of a U.S. Navy ship shooting a missile or whatever. But now they know they got to get off. They're like, oh shit, they're gonna shoot us. So all the survivors, they're able to defeat all the bad guys. Who cares? They get off and they get into a little dinghy.
Yes, it's hilarious.
And they row away from the submarine, and they're sitting there. And the missile
comes down, and we get. I will say we get some impressive like.
This one's pretty good,
like sub implosion type of thing.
Yeah, this one,
it's and I don't know where they got this footage from because clearly they didn't.
Probably another movie, yeah, I would imagine. So they're able to blow it up, and we cut to Steven Seagal and his reaction in the dinghy. He's just watching, and the sub blows up, and he goes,
"Oh man."
Well, I suppose it's better than rotting in prison.
Oh man. He seems so upset about that.
Isn't anybody gonna help that poor man?
Anyways.
So then we see Later has another lab. We cut to his like actual lab, which is like this crazy.
There's like this tech company or something like that.
Yeah.
That's in like the capital or whatever.
Yeah.
And like his lab's underneath that.
Yeah. It's like the lab from Jurassic Park or something. It's crazy. But he gets to that lab. Then meanwhile we cut, and he's experimenting. He's got people in like little cubes that he's like doing brainwash experiments on.
Wild, yeah.
Whatever. Then this is where I really started to lose the plot of what was going on. Is they are now back on land. We cut like way forward. They're back on land. They arrive at some building. I think the Uruguayan ambassador, like the embassy, maybe.
Yeah.
But there's like a protest going on or something.
Maybe it's some state house. Or something
yeah, there's somewhere there's some protest going on, And when they get there, Steven Seagal like realizes it's a trap.
I got him. First floor, 12 o'clock. You see that?
And so he sends Vinnie Jones.
They spot a sniper.
I don't even know why. Yeah, I don't even know why they're there. I don't even know what they're Do you know why they're there?
Because now they're like, now we got to take it to them. We got to take it to them.
It's either let them come for us or we go for them. They already took their shot.
Yeah, but who's them and why are they at this building? I don't understand at all. I don't. But anyways, so they see a sniper. He sends Vinnie Jones at him.
Steven Seagal doing the newspaper routine is pretty hilarious.
Yeah. It's like, I'm just Steven Seagal reading a newspaper. Wait a second. Steven Seagal can't read. that's the tell. But yeah, so he's like reading the newspaper, and Vinnie Jones is able to like sneak through the buildings and find the guy and grab him and just shoots him in the chest and kills him. It's great. But also, good Lord, the color grading on this movie is so painfully early 2000s. Yeah. The contrast and saturation are all dialed to like 8,000. And because it's South America, everything is like neon yellow, green, and orange like all the time because it's like, we got to make sure you know we're in South America. Everything's like green
Brian's
and orange.
Give you a lesson on color grading.
It's brutal. It's really bad.
I got him. First floor, 12 o'clock. You see that?
We then get like a phone call between, I don't even remember who these two characters are, but at some point during this phone call, we get like an insert cut of some woman on a table in a lab getting brainwashing done. Yeah. And this is the opera singer.
Yes, this is the wife of the newly elected president.
Yeah. Yeah. And so somehow she got captured.
Yeah.
And brainwashed by later?
But I guess the plan is they're going to control the president through her.
I guess, yeah. I have no idea what's going on with any of this. And then, so yeah, they have this phone call, and then I don't know what's going on, but we're setting up that the opera singer, or not even the opera singer, it's the wife of the, like you said, the president being brainwashed. Then... So I was cracking up because my notes say Seagal calls one of later, and it's supposed to say Seagal, but it autocorrected to Seagal. Nice. So then, moving on later, Seagal calls one of later's guys, like that's his like little lackey who's with them at
tracking.
To triangulate his phone call, like where he is, and later figures out what's going on. He's like, "Hang up, you idiot!" But it's too late. Seagal already got the position. Meanwhile, Christina confronts Fletcher in a car about how he's like a double agent or some shit. None of this, I have no idea what any of this plot means or how it matters at all. It's all irrelevant. Really, we're just getting to our big climax at the opera here. Then Seagal meets the new ambassador who is on his way to the opera with his wife. Later double crosses Fletcher for some reason. He like locks him up.
Throws him into one of the cubes, yeah.
I don't know enough about the relationships and anybody's motivations to know why anybody is doing anything. At the end
later
of this
was all about like for the money, security, stuff like that.
Yeah, and Fletcher I guess was for working for the government, but it seemed like he was doing his own thing because he's a double.
He's just doing like power grabs.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all my notes literally say this is all nothing. I have no idea.
Think of the research I could fund with that money.
So then Seagal attends the opera pretending to be the ambassador,
which is just insane because you would have like photos and stuff of who this guy, who the ambassador
They're just like, oh, yes, ambassador, I guess that's you. Sure. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. So he walks in, just is able to walk freely into the opera pretending to be the ambassador. Meanwhile, we have a car chase that all goes down where Vinnie Jones or maybe it's not Vinnie Jones.
It's Vinnie Jones.
Some of the other people.
Who's the
Christine? I think is in the car, and then
no, Christine's captured at this point.
Oh, that you're right.
Who's the other one?
Demita whatever her name is.
Louise. Right?
Yes, yeah. They're in this car, and I love the drive. They're in like a taxi, I think.
Yes.
And the taxi driver gets killed, I guess.
Oh no, he's in on it. He's in on it? I think Vinnie Jones just straight up stabs him or something.
Oh,
like
okay. I thought he got like winged by a bullet because they are driving. They have a whole car chase where they're driving from the passenger seat.
Yeah,
the guy is just great. Like, I'm like, how are you doing?
Louise is like over the wheel. You got somebody pushing the pedal down. It's just a Three Stooges trying to drive this thing.
It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Meanwhile, Seagal gets into the special suite of the president.
Yes.
I think it is.
Yeah, the president first, and then he goes to the CEO guy later.
Yes. Or, well, maybe this is, I don't know. Who's the guy that gets called by later and asks for the secret code? Is that the president or is that the...
It might be the CEO, dude.
Okay, well then it's that guy. That's who I'm thinking about.
Sandro, that's it.
Yes, he gets into that guy's little like opera box or whatever, and later calls that guy and is like, "You will give me the code. There's the sniper pointing at your face. Give me the code." And he starts giving him the code, and then Seagal grabs the phone and is like, "Nuh-uh."
Later, why is it that everything has to be about money?
Shut the fuck up. I'm here to save the day. And I love, he mumbles maybe my favorite line in the movie, which the guy on the other end of the later or something says something about like, humanity's a disease, or I don't know. He says some stupid shit. And Seagal's response is,
"You've now become poison. That's why I've been hired.
I'm the antidote."
I'm the antidote. But he just mumbles it. He mumbles it so mealy-mouthed. It's so funny.
Also, this is something we missed throughout the whole thing. It's just the constant like dubbed line.
Oh my god! Well, obviously, sorry,
it happens every single time.
It's a Seagal movie, so I thought that was implied that every line is 80 yards.
He probably actually said about 30% of his lines in the film, and then the rest of it was dubbed.
Yeah.
That name just won't quit. What does a private company want with a man like Later?
It does sound more like him than normal, or at least compared to that one movie where it's like clearly just another person doing it. So meanwhile, Vinnie Jones is like breaking into the back of the opera, and one of my favorite little details is during the opera has started and some of the opera performers are out back smoking. It's like, that seems like a bad idea right before you're about to perform. It's a good joke though. Well, and then I got really confused because we watched this on Pluto. Did you watch this on Pluto?
Yeah.
Did you? Maybe yours didn't do this, but mine, we're at this moment. It's like the climax hasn't even really kicked off. Like we're setting up the building tension at this opera, but nothing has happened. I look down at the time the time bar. There's 3 minutes left. I'm like, what?
What?
It was just Pluto's time thing is messed up on this. It just plays like another 15 minutes past the actual end.
Nice.
So I was like, how is there only 3 minutes left in this? But it wasn't actually 3 minutes left. They break in and like all hell starts to break loose. Somebody gets shot. I can't remember. Demita like hangs a random cop in the rafters in the back of the opera. It's like, that guy wasn't even involved in this.
Louis got a concussion and he just stumbles out on stage.
Oh yeah.
And pulls out a gun and points it at was it the orchestra?
I think one of the performers, or no, well, and because that guy actually
he's in on it, right?
Mind-washed, or brainwashed, the conductor, yeah.
So like we have mind-washed conductor,
one of the performers, I think it's audience members or something.
Yeah, we got a sniper out there too. This whole shit's wild.
It's chaos, dude. It's chaos.
Louise gets winged.
Vinnie Jones kills the sniper, dude. Yeah, and then and then all of the brainwashed people pull out their guns and everybody just starts shooting everybody. And you're like, what is happening?
Vinnie Jones gets unceremoniously shot and killed.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit. And the way, here's the thing, that happens. And in my thing, because I still didn't know what was going on, I had like 30 seconds left. Vinnie Jones gets killed, falls off the balcony, and then like Seagal looks down at him and goes,
cut to black, right?
And then it goes to black, and I was like, is that the end of the movie? I literally thought that was the end of the movie. And then it just kept playing. I was like, oh no, it's just broken. Okay. Or just the players messed up. Oh God, it's so funny. Anyway, so yeah, then Seagal is able to sneak out or get out somehow.
With Sandro.
Yeah.
They take Sandro's private car and he's like,
you and I are going to walk out of here.
Take us to your IT headquarters or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they get to the thing, Fletcher somehow gets mind controlled then.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I guess the idea is that he was also brainwashed.
Well, he's also a liability at this point, too.
So he gets brainwashed and grabs a gun and just starts murdering people, which is fun. Seagal, my favorite moment of the movie, the helicopter part. I don't even know what that was. Somebody's getting on a helicopter. Or who's trying to get on the helicopter? Or it's a helicopter trying to kill them or something. I can't remember.
I think it was Sandro trying to get on the helicopter. He was like trying to get away.
I don't know, but Seagal rams a helicopter with his car and causes it to crash, which is amazing. I thought that was a lot of fun.
She just killed a helicopter with a car.
But we get to a point where Seagal he's got Sandro at gunpoint and says, "Drive your headquarters now as fast as you can."
Yeah.
And they start breaking through all these barriers.
Yeah.
And there's like crazy amount of security there because I mean it's a secret base or whatever.
Yeah.
But they drive into the headquarters,
like straight into the lobby.
Yeah, and crash the car.
Yeah.
And then he pushes Sandro out of the car. And these people who see clearly they're like, oh, that's the guy who runs this place. He's our boss.
He just gets unloaded into. I was like, you spent all that time saving that guy, Seagal, and then you just push him out and he gets murdered immediately. Fantastic. And then we get the worst version of the lobby shootout from The Matrix you've ever seen.
Steven Seagal found the unlimited shotgun ammo glitch.
Yeah. But it's so clearly they were doing the lobby shootout because we got all the big pillars with like exploding and it's all in slow-mo. It's just, it's so bad. Then Fletcher is trying to find Later, I think.
Yeah, no, Later's trying to escape, right?
Yeah.
And he can't go out the front because now Seagal's there. So he's got to go back down out the back.
He's got to go out the back.
And when he gets into the lab, Fletcher's there and just chucks him from the stairwell onto his own memory, his own mind control device.
And it like explodes and electrocutes him.
I guess so.
He landing on the table just causes it to short circuit, I guess, because it just fries him and he's dead now, I guess. Then Seagal comes down on the elevator as Fletcher is trying to escape and he kicks Fletcher.
His eyes are like bleeding like crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But he kicks Fletcher through the glass.
Through the plate glass like 50 feet. Yes. He goes flying like he got shot out of a cannon.
And he lands on Later, also still being electrocuted.
Yes.
And he gets impaled on the cane.
It's so good,
what
dude.
The hell?
Everybody dies. That's the end of the movie. Basically, everybody except Steven Seagal dies, I think. And yeah, he just kicks him out, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, all right, woohoo, we did it." And then I don't remember exactly what the denouement scene is. Like, what's the
so the ending scene? They're on like some sort of at some sort of like tropical place. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
And Steven Seagal is just finishing up a really stupid joke.
Oh yes.
We have the people who lived were
Louise,
Chapel,
Christine,
Deetra, whatever her name is.
Whatever, Damita,
and then Steven Seagal. And then as everybody's chucking, yucking it up, and
they're having a great time.
We go into Christine's vision, and she's like, "Oh, she was mind controlled the whole time."
Oh, you think the whole time? I thought it was that maybe she at the because she did get captured at some point. Yeah. So yeah, I think when she got captured, like at the 2/3 mark of the movie,
are they trying to sequel bait this shit?
Yeah, I think that's the only thing they could be doing. But there's no. What would the plot be? That she's bad now? Like there's seemingly all of the other players involved in this plot are all dead. So I don't know.
Literally, it's just Steven Seagal and like Louise and the Dietrich. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know what else the sequel could possibly be. But it's look, it's probably good bad.
It's good bad, but it's also just a mess.
It's a mess and it's incomprehensible. It was one of the more confusing movies I've watched in a while for the show because it shouldn't be. It's such an obvious, straightforward. Okay, the main thing is we got a bunch of the main plot they wanted to do was the submarine part. Get a bunch of guys on a sub.
It's called Submerged.
Yeah, and then but that's 10 minutes in the movie, so they had to write all this other nonsense around it, and this clearly didn't care that much about making it all connect and make sense. Because why would you? It's not.
It does have all the hallmarks of Steven Seagal, though. Everything. It's bad. The acting's ridiculous. The plot's insane. Steven Seagal's flailing around.
ADR is terrible.
Shootout, ADR nonstop.
Yeah, he's drop kicking people 50 feet through walls because he's Steven Seagal. Fuck you. Yeah. It has a lot of good stuff. It's not top tier Seagal, but it'll do. It'll serve you just fine. That's going to do it for this episode. As always, you can do us a favor by heading over to patreon.com/GBorBB. Support us there, get access to bonus content, all kinds of good stuff. You can also support us by heading over to TeePublic. Search for Good, Bad, or Bad, buy our merch. I have a podcast called This Film Is Lit where we talk about movies that are based on books. When this episode is out, the most recent episode will have been Chronicles of Narnia: The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Hey,
the third one.
Is we still have a lion in that one? We probably do, right?
Yeah, he shows up.
Yeah,
he shows up at the end.
That's all I know about those films.
Yeah, he shows up at the end. That one was fun. It's like a pirate adventure movie, basically. Like literally, they're just on a ship the whole time. It's fine. It doesn't make any sense. The plot's incoherent, but well, I don't want to say incoherent. It's mostly incoherent, but it's a fun little adventure movie. That's it. Until next time, keep watching movies, especially
Submerged.
Submerged.
At the very least,
it's like Bad Under Siege.
Yeah, you can turn off your brain and watch it.
That's true. You don't need your brain. It's better if you don't have it when you watch it.